So today's a little bit different than every other day. We're going to go see Miles's fish, and Chris is coming over with her motorcycle. We'll leave it at my shop. Not the typical day, but then we don't like to have 2 days in a row the same.
There. That's Dynamo. He's a
silly sibling, and
wait, he's a tetra and he's very fast. The silly siblings. That's the beta right there.
yeah, I see the beta's beautiful.
And that's an adult walker and a Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon's really been bothering me because like
Here's two tetras.
Fashionably on time. Fashionably on time. Let's see, she said she'd be here 45 minutes ago.
Oh my God, where did
Fashionably late, as always. Oh.
there was traffic?
No, not, you're kidding. Traffic here?
There was traffic?
Here in Indiana, the middle of the Corn Belt here. Okay, leave the key in. And chain's good and rusty. Let's see what else is needed. Has this had an oil change recently? Yes or no? Come on, don't give me that. Yes, no. You don't know when it had an oil change?
I added oil. Why are you videotaping? There's no evidence.
Nah, this is evidence. If this thing French fries, when Luciano's going to start doing wheelies with it. No, what I'm saying, while it's here and we're going to have some cold weather, I just want to know what you know.
Yeah,
get
that
the whole
would
thing
be
done.
great. Yeah.
You're leaving the bike and trust the windy? Okay, there you go, there you go. Now we got it on.
My girl.
All right, see you later, alligator.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you later, alligator. So the way this day played out, we actually got the tank in final clear. The day started at the end of the other day. We had to go see Miles's fish, and I'm happy that he has fish, and we're going to do the work we need to do, and we're waiting for the parts. Of course, we'll do the seat, the lowering link, and a tire valve on the front wheel. And as I'm working on it, I cleaned it up a little bit for her, and that'll be our next little project. And what's good about this project, while this project is being worked on, our clear will be drying. So we're not going to come back out here till tomorrow morning and start all over again. So tonight here, after Chris left, I got some nice pictures from Dallas. He's out tearing up the streets of California. And that is one whistle clean GS, baby. And Dallas, I always appreciate seeing these pictures. I always get a kick out of them. And Dallas, you got one problem I never have. Now, see, he says he's got a new phone and it only allows him to send 3 pictures at a time. I don't have that problem. I don't have I have a flip phone. I can't send an email with it. I talk about how nice and clean this bike is. Oh my God! Now, while I got Chris's bike here in the shop, I'll do a little cleanup on it and try to do the maintenance so she's got a trouble-free season ahead. Dallas, I am always jealous when I see how nice and clean your bike is. That is amazing. Now that's an 83, mine's an 82. You know, it's funny, even the hose clamps look brand new here. I see he's got Allen screws in the top of the carbs. Good choice, that's for sure. And some real nice aftermarket shocks. I wonder if I'm looking at the exhaust system, if that's black chrome or the one I have an 86 exhaust on mine, and the black chrome is at this point in time starting to wear thin in a couple of spots. Now I'm just assuming this is original paint. It looks so clean, it doesn't look like it's ever been painted. And I remember when John did the decaling for the West Cooley job, the one we did the West Cooley paint job, he went, and what a job we had matching the lettering. And the 83 has the blacked out engine. Ay, wow. I'd love to see these two bikes side by side. That'd be beautiful. That'd be great if well, there's no reason we can't meet in the middle like Promontory Point someday. I'll ride to Kansas City and I'm not sure that's going to happen. Well, you could say what you want. That is Dallas. I am impressed. That is one clean GS. I'm not sure I've ever seen one cleaner. And we were out riding GS just a couple days ago, and it was just, it's a great riding bike. And Dallas, thank you so much for sharing these pictures. It always inspires me. I wish I could find another GS that was even cleaner than mine. I'd buy that one too. I only have 2 of them, and I'm jealous. I sent Dallas one of my favorite pictures of the 650R that we're working on now by what locally is known as the ice wall. That is solid ice from last year. Dallas, you're not missing a thing. Now, I normally start my video early in the morning, and it's early in the morning, but this video really started last night. And I wanted to mention something. Chris did a really smart thing. Yesterday it was relatively warm. It was in the 40s or maybe even the high 40s. She wanted to bring the bike down because the parts are getting shipped right to me anyway. And we knew there were several days of chance of on and off rain, and then it's supposed to get colder too. So she did a smart thing, kind of like a way of leapfrogging, but getting the bike down here, because what I want to do to the bike, very simple. I want to go over it, look for anything loose or damaged or whatever. Try to clean up the paint a little bit, because when I'm done painting the tail, it'll look really nice and shiny, I hope. And I don't want it to look like it doesn't match the bike. So I thought one of the things it'll be is a good thing for us to show some of the ways, as long as we have this project in the shop, some of the things you could do to a bike that maybe hasn't been maintained or been out in the weather, or if you buy a bike from somebody who hasn't maintained it. Now, I know Chris has limitations. She couldn't keep the bike in the garage for a while. That's changed now, and we've ridden together for many, many years. I know Chris over 10 years. So, and it's a perfect time. Talk about leapfrog, a perfect time. There's the Kawasaki tank still drying up. So what I'll do, the first thing is bring that tank down the cellar, put it up by a heating vent. The parts are due here in 2 or 3 days. In the meantime, I'm going to try to look around and see what, I'm sure there's other things have to be done to the bike. Again, because when you do what I do with the bike, or Luciano, where you go over it every so often, you find a little screw or a little thing missing or something. But if you just ride a bike and don't do a lot of maintenance, sometimes it catches up with you. Now, I wanted the bike to be safe, and I want to try to take care of it. It needs a tire valve, as an example. It has a slow leak in the front. It should have, we're going to try and see if Chris likes the lowering links, and it should have a seat that isn't dangerous to ride with. So we have a couple days of work. It'll be a good time, and it's perfect timing, leapfrogging, perfect, because while this is happening, and while it's probably going to rain, we will have time for that paint to dry. And then once this project is done, and this bike is back out on the open road, we'll probably be ready to finish our project and then start assembling the 650. So it looks like it's all going to leapfrog into a very positive thing. I hope. But what I really hope is that by now, Karen's got the coffee going. So just a couple of basic things. I thought her bike was an 06. It's an 08. So it's 11 years old. An 11-year-old bike, I know because I did the repair work. She crashed it at a track day, and we repaired the tank on that side. I don't remember. A couple other things. I think these were broken off. I really don't remember totally, but I checked one thing. I just came around real close to check this, and I can see the first thing I'll do this morning, the chain is ready to come off the sprocket. So, Chris, this is not meant to criticize anybody. It's meant to keep you riding a safe bike. And people that know me for many, many, many years know I do enjoy doing a little mitzvah for a friend, and this job will be maybe a big mitzvah by the time we're done. Now, we did the lowering links on the FZR. This one looks a little bit different. The lowering links are not totally different, but they're buried behind the muffler. I don't know if we're going to have to take other parts off. An R6 and an R1 are just a little bit different. Similar in a lot of ways, but different in a lot of ways. So now look at the oil. The oil looks clean as a whistle. I was going to do an oil change on this. I don't think it's even worth doing. I don't think that she probably doesn't even have 1,000 miles on this oil. But the brake fluid's fine. But the big one, and before we even start the job, there is a big thing that's worth doing right away this morning after coffee, and that is clean up the back wheel a little bit and straighten out the chain. The chain looks like it's really been not maintained up to Luciano's standards. And we'll get it squared away this morning after coffee. But the first thing is to get this tank down by a heating vent. Oh, that dried up beautifully. Wow. That really dried up beautifully. And having those extra couple of days while I'm working on Chris's bike, it's only going to make it easier. Even though there's no sun out today and it does look like it's going to rain any minute, just makes me happy that the day we did get to do this painting, we leapfrogged right into a sunny day, and I don't think we could have been any luckier. So both Chris and I have been lucky in this leapfrogging week. Alright, so the tank is now inside under a heating vent. Oogle apart a little bit, and I'm going to have my coffee. Oh, I'm ready for a day's work. Another day on a railroad. And another day feeding birds. I don't know if they love me as much as I love them. Just never sure how much they love me. They love me a lot more when I put extra seeds out there. I've noticed that. I just thought I'd look at Chris. Now she's in this. We're at Pocono Speedway on a track day, and this is our friend Bernie, who we know from track days, and he has this really hot Camaro. He actually was the fastest guy on track that day, and he took Chris for a ride. And I know she enjoyed this ride. I know this was a pretty cool car, and we had seen Bernie down in Millville. And he was going to take me for a ride in this car, and he blew the clutch. So, but he did get to take Chris for a ride, and we have it all on video, of course. These are old videos, but I thought I'd start off the morning. Famous Bernie. Well, he is famous. This guy's a hell of a rider, too. And when Chris came back from this ride, and she eventually went, she did the free track day, and she did a couple track days on her own. And, wow. Good memories, Chris. I'll be working on your bike this afternoon, and I'll be thinking about these memories. And how much fun is it to have your coffee in the morning, have your birds keeping your coffee, checking out? Boy, there's not many things we don't have on video. Gonna be 1800 very soon. Look at that smile.
Thank you very much.
Bernie was definitely a cool guy.
Chris, we're all here to help you get out of the car. Oh, she did it.
So again, I've got coffee. I've had some good memories. I'm motivated, highly motivated in fact. I oogled my parts, and I'm going to get to work, get out in that garage. And the first thing, and I thought this through, the first thing I ought to do is do the chain and do a little bit of testing on cleaning up some of the paint that's been left out. I think this will be a good test for our products, because when I'm done with the tail, the new tail section, it'll have an ice gloss finish. I'm not going to paint something that looks like sandpaper. And so what'll happen is the rest of the bike it won't really match. So if I can clean up the paint and get the chain done today, I think that'll be a giant little step. And then when our parts come in, as they come in, and because Chris works for FedEx, if they're slow on delivery, shame on her. So I wanted to start this little maintenance routine. I want to take the seat off, and I need to hang the back wheel up. Now I don't have another stand, or I could do it with the stand. I'm using a stand on the project bike, but I also have the electric come along, which will make this very easy. So there's a lot of parts of an R6 that are exactly like an R1, a lot of parts that are very different. I don't know when the seat comes in if we're going to have a what do you call it? It's going to be a drop-in fit, but of course we're going to find out. But we're not going to have the parts for a couple of days. But this is maintenance I can do that I think is going to be worth its weight in gold, because when a bike's been left out in the rain, there's just certain things that, well, I don't know how to explain it. But I like working on a clean bike, so it would be to my advantage to just clean it up, spend a few minutes this morning cleaning it up. Now, just as an example, I just want to just clean things up, good old simple green. Not much high-tech stuff, but it doesn't take much, and you can rejuvenate. At least when you work on a bike, it's more pleasant to work on it. Well, and a lot of these jobs are not that much fun, but I wanted to show something in real time, because you'll really like this. Let me just throw that there. If you take this seat, I don't know if you can see it, and look at the difference. I'm not sure you can see the difference, but it's, to me, that's worth that's worth 20 seconds of my time. And it's just a million little things that if you do this, it just makes working on a bike easier. It's not made to do anything except just somehow give people a clue that a little bit of maintenance, and I'm talking minutes, not hours. And whenever I have to work on something, I like to work on it when it's as clean as possible. Now I remember, and Chris will remember, I think it was last winter or the winter before, I got the call that the battery was dead. And it was the middle of the winter, and I know Chris took care of getting a battery for this. So, but I assume, I'm looking at it, it looks like it's brand new, but the strap isn't attached, so we'll try to hook that up if possible. I don't know if there's a reason that's off, but as I'm doing this, I'm walking around. This is why I like clean stuff. It's not really all that thing to be pretty. I want to check the, oh yeah, look at this, the battery's loose. Now see, that has to be, there's a little clip down there. Let me see if I can get that on there. It's very similar to an R1, not exactly the same. And what I need a tool, because I know why she didn't hook this up. You need little tiny fingers. Oh, I know on the R1 it can be a little bit of a snippy thing to get this on. It wants to go right around that. The whole problem is, I guess the Japanese have a lot smaller fingers than Americans, because my fingers never, there we go. And now the battery's nice and solid. You can move the motorcycle by it. Well, I don't know if that's bad for the battery to be vibrating around, but I know they made a strap. That's nice and tight. Everything's clean in here. One more little, just a little step for mankind. Now I had to pirate the floor jack so I could do this part of it, but again, I don't like, just me. Now some people do not mind working on dirty stuff, and it takes me minutes to do this, and then the rest of the job is a whole lot more fun. And a couple ounces of simple green, it changes everything. And the reason I'm cleaning the back wheel up so as thoroughly as I can, by the way, these look like R1 wheels. In fact, let's see, yeah, they are R1, they look very similar anyway. And boy, did I have fun painting those R1 wheels. Oh, man, every time I think of how many hours went into that. Whew. Anyway, we will get this, just basic cleanup. And in the end, it's just going to be just a safer motorcycle ride, because as we're doing this, I can be looking around, it looks like nothing looks loose here, but every once in a while you go, whoa, that's ready to fall off, or something that would be dangerous. Here's another thing. It looks like the chain side of the wheel has really got a lot of grit on it. I don't know what kind of chain lube Chris was using, if any, but what's really dangerous here is, and you could, that chain is ready to fall off the motorcycle. That can come off. Look at the side to side you can even have. So if nothing else, even if you just brought the bike down for a little checkup and a maintenance, we could take care of that. Now, but the back wheel has to be clean before I go to the next step. Now there's actually a video on YouTube of some guys riding around Mulholland Drive, and one guy with a Ducati, the chain came off at some high speed. I don't know what, but believe me, nothing good happens. Especially the guy behind you, if he's smiling and his mouth is open, he's going to be literally eating your chain. So, Chris, I would suggest, and I will highly recommend that at least every once in a while, we go over your bike just to keep it safe. We want to keep you safe. So you can go for more of those car rides with Bernie. That actually was pretty good. We have had so much fun over the years. And it's just, it'll be, what I can do here in just a couple of days is will make this bike just so much more fun to ride, I hope. Look, just another thing, I'm looking at the license plate is held on with zip ties. In New Jersey, that's illegal, by the way. I'll put bolts in there. I'll ask her if she wants bolts. Yeah. Can you imagine a cop is going to give you a ticket for that? And you're going to pay $50 or something? Oh my God. So the first step on this, I have a little bit of diesel fuel. I want to clean the chain. I want to try to figure out, I have a little tool to measure 10 links of the chain and see if if this is shot or, and you never know, anything. This chain is really rusty. Wow. I don't even think the diesel fuel is going to put much of a dent in it, but I would guess very soon Chris is going to be getting a chain for the bike. Just by taking a look at this. Yep. See, that chain is really, wow. I'm surprised that hasn't come off in the middle of a ride. Wow, that's really dangerous. In fact, I can almost take the chain off the sprocket here if I wanted to. Wow. So anyway, the first thing is to loosen up the axle and get the chain somewhere in a reasonable spec. Try to clean off some of this rust and grit with. Wow, it is. I'm just guessing that Chris has been using, yeah, the links are okay, that she's been using some kind of stuff beside chain wax, but I prefer chain wax. Wow. That's about as sloppy as it gets. That is definitely unsafe. Now an R6 and an R1 are very similar. The way that the rear chain gets adjusted, not a whole lot different. And we'll get this within spec very quickly. At least the axle was nice and tight anyway. But, you know, and of course, depending on how you ride, if you ride it pretty aggressively or do track days, I know this bike has had track day, more than one track day even. That tends to put a lot of wear and tear on stuff, no matter what bike you ride. All right, you're making me work today. Okay, that's loosen up. We can loosen up the screws and get this lined up. It's a little bit different than an R1, but basically the same thing. We have to get the alignment marks on both sides equal. This is so out of adjustment though, wow. Now once you actually break the locking nuts loose, you can take up the slack. You need an Allen wrench inside the bolt. But first you have to get off, or you actually just have to loosen them, but I take them off because I want to get this real accurate. Now using the Allen wrench, I want to get these, in this case, they line up about 1.5. That's where the end of this lines up, and that's my reference point. And when they're both the same, then I can put on the locking nuts and make sure I haven't lost my, after you tighten the axle, you want to make sure you haven't lost your adjustment here, that they're both that far apart, and that we still have about an inch of play in a chain. And then tighten the axle up and we're good to go. And then we'll do a good job of cleaning that chain. What I did, I just put a little bit of WD-40 on that chain before, let it soak a little bit, because there was a lot of rust on it. And kerosene, or diesel fuel, I call it diesel fuel, it's really kerosene, will loosen some of that up. What I really don't want to have is be adjusting a rusty old chain. I like it to be lubed and adjusted, and then I'll put some chain wax on it. Okay, and we're good to go. Well, I feel good today that we got started on the little maintenance items. That was a big one. That was not a little one. That's something that could have ruined the whole ride, or in the worst scenario, ruined everybody's ride. So we got that done today. So our chain's in good adjustment now. Hopefully it's nice and clean and it's well lubricated. So it's well lubricated. It's as clean as I can make it. We'll have to monitor that chain, because I have a feeling that, well, I don't know how many miles this bike has on it. I don't know how many miles we're talking about here. Does it show on? Oh, 15,000. 14.3. So for 14.3, I have a suggestion, Chris. Maybe this summer sometime you want to get a chain. Vlad is a good source to get chains from, and have him ship it right to me, and we'll swap the chain out. That it'll probably make it through the summer. But 15,000 on an R6 that's for track day might be time for a chain. But that's the whole purpose of doing this, is to try to find things. The point is, you want to find this stuff before it breaks, before you have a... I don't even know how to explain it. People that love their motorcycles, like I do, and spend a lot of time oogling them and like Dallas wiping them and cleaning them, and they look brand new at 20, 30, 40 years old. the thing is, it doesn't take that much maintenance to keep it like that. And if you don't, the worst of all scenarios is you got to drive down to my shop and you got to order a pizza or whatever, or order a bagel. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see when that seat comes in what the deal is with the seat. In the meantime, Karen has just informed me we have errands to do today, and I was glad I got this out of the way today because probably the rest of the day is going to be absorbed by errands. And just getting one thing like this out of the way makes a big difference to me. Every time I can make somebody's bike just a little bit safer, I'm very happy, or more reliable, or I'm sure we're going to find other little things floating around there. So I hope you did enjoy the video, and thanks for watching.